से शुभ्र जन करथिले आगे जन करथिले आगे शुभ प्रदर जन करथिले शिव जन करथिले
सर एथर सुबिले सर संतोष सर एथर सुबिले सर संतोष बाबू
मैडम नमस्कार नाउ यू आर ऑडिबल
हाँ सर लेट मी स्टार्ट
just I am introducing and we will go on.
हाँ सर ठीक
Ma'am,
सर
if you can switch on your camera that will be good.
switch on your camera
If it is possible.
এইটা কি
Your microphone is on.
हाँ सर
Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar. Now it is visible also. Thank you so much.
A little flip cat. A lot of people are.
Bimal sir.
Yes, yes.
Will you start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Respected Director in charge, Dr. S.K. Panigrahi sir. Respected resource person of the day, Professor Sumarani Chand ma'am. My colleague, Dr. Prabhat Kumar Jena. Colleagues from the regional center and study centers. Our dear colleagues from across the country who are attending this webinar, and my dearest learners. Very good evening to all of you. As we know, India is a very diversified country. It's a multicultural country and you can say a multi-ethnic country. It has a history of thousands of years. If we take into account only the region history, we have our literature, the Rig Vedas, all the Vedas, the Mahabharata, then the Ramayanas, Puranas, all the Puranas, and all our literatures. Everything convey us regarding the civilizational ethos. One of the ancient civilizations, India boasts of unity in diversity. But this country, this great country of which we are proud of, has lost independence several times and gained independence several times as well. Sometimes we have been under the rule of the imperial forces. Sometimes we have been under the rule of the internal forces who, instead of ruling with equality, sometimes impose the terms of inequality on us. So the struggle of all the people, all the ethnic people is always ongoing, particularly when it comes to the tribal people. They have been in class with outsiders. They have been in class with themselves. So there is an internal struggle as well as an external struggle. They are excluded as human beings. They are doubly excluded as tribals. So when the Britishers ruled over India, it was the tribal people who lost as human beings and lost as tribals, both way. So naturally there are resistances by the Indians against the British rule, also by the tribals, and it was the tribal uprising against the British that is more important because they are regarded as the most downtrodden people in the country. We have seen the revolution by Bhagwan Birsa Munda in Jharkhand. We have seen the rebellion by Bir Surendra Sai in Odisha. We have seen the revolt of Kanwar Singh in Bihar, and also in the southern part of the country also have seen tribal uprisings. So
What?
15th December, sorry, 15th November is observed as the national, is a Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, particularly because it is the birthday of Bhagwan Birsa Munda. So starting with 15th of this month to the 15th of November 2025, Government of India is celebrating the Janjatiya Gaurav Bars, and as a part of the celebrations today, we are celebrating this webinar. We are organizing this webinar, that is the Nationalist resistance of the tribal peoples of Odisha. So this is Odisha's contribution. This is tribal Odisha's contribution to the national uprising against the British. For this discussion today, we have with us Professor Somarani Chand, retired professor of history and ex-head of the Department of History, Utkal University, Bhubaneswar. We are very fortunate to have you with us, ma'am, today. So I welcome our research person, Professor Somarani Chand, ma'am, to this webinar. I welcome all my colleagues across the regional centers and across the disciplines. I welcome my learners to this webinar. I welcome all of you. So, with this, I request my colleague Dr. Prabhat Kumar Jaina to say a brief biodata of Professor Sumakant ma'am. Over to you, Prabhat sir.
Namaste, sir.
ସେପଟକୁ ଯିବେ ନା ଏଠି
Uh,
ସେପଟକୁ ଯିବେ
Good afternoon to everybody. Respected Regional Director in charge, Dr. S.K. Panigai, respected Deputy Director, Dr. B.C. Nanda, sir, respected research person, Dr. Soma Sadu, madam. Madam, namaste. My other respected dignitaries, my dear colleagues, and dear learners. So we are very much grateful to the research person, Dr. Somasad Madam, for his for the acceptance of our request to attend this ceremony. Now we are very much thankful to her, and we are also very much thankful to our regional director in charge and deputy director sir for arranging this meeting. And I am very much thankful to deliver this address regarding the profile of the invited guest. So, in order to, before reading the profile of this research person, let me just tell one thing, that we have already invited her on different occasions, and she is a very good speaker, and she is a very good academician. So nothing more to read about her, and she is famous in our field also. So let me just briefly read the profile. She is a very brilliant, very brilliant academician, and her profile stands as a testimony of her glittering talent and her proficiency. She has throughout first class career with high percentage of marks from high school to post graduation, with the Ghanshyam Das Gold Medal as the topper, speaks of her distinguished academic output along with PhD and LLB degree. So if we go about her career profile, she is a distinguished educationist, and she has joined Odisha Education Service at the early age of 21 and serving in different government colleges of state. She retired as the head of the Department of History, Utkal University, India. During the long tenure of 38 years of service career, she has carved out a niche for our extraordinary performance in teaching, research, and administration. Our research projects has been converted to reference books for their immense utility. As a guide, she has supervised 25 scholars in MPhil and 7 scholars in PhD. Her research articles in books and journals exist more than 70 with a number of international publications, more than 80 seminars, symposiums, and workshops she has attended. If we go about the literary profile, she is a very good writer. She has very much reputation. Dr. Chan broke new grounds with each new books covering mainly story, essay, poetry, translation, and more importantly, bridging domain of 19th century Bengali literature in Odisha. She regularly writes in newspapers, periodicals, magazines, and delivers extramural lectures on several occasions in visual media as well as radio. Her devotion, commitment towards passion of creative writing is really adorable. Quite appropriate. She has been honored with many awards, and to her credit, she has added many reference books like Hare Krishna Mahtab and Freedom Struggle, Women in Colonial Eastern India, Kolkata in 2017, Essay on History and Historiography, Gandhiji, Padayatra, and Gandhian constructive works. Okay, all these things she has written, and she has also many publications like magazines and periodicals, Odia journals, weekly magazines. Okay, and she has also written many storybooks and poets in Odia also, like Mane Rakhibar Sporo, Kargil Kabanjali, Abaku Nikat. Okay, and there are also Taslima Kavita Sambhar, Patak, and she has received many awards, which includes Monorama Literary Award, Samaraha Literary Award, okay, and Governor's Award she has received in 2019 for the excellence in literature and translation. It's a great achievement that she has also received Odisha History Congress Award in 2022. So, thank you, madam. Thank you very much for accepting our request, and we are very much grateful to you. And we are eagerly awaiting to listen from you. So, we are very much thankful to once again, and I once again welcome you, madam, uh, August occasion. So, welcome, madam, and welcome you all to this seminar once again. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Professor, for your brief description of ma'am's biodata. Now I straight away invite Professor Suma Chand ma'am to kindly deliver it on today's topic. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to you all. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to you all, esteemed organizer of the webinars and the learned participants who are listening or who are attending to this seminar. As you are all familiar with the topic on which there will be some lecture, I will have my lecture, Nationalist Resistance of the Tribals of Odisha. As in the beginning, sir has already pointed out that 15th November has been selected as the Janajatiya Gaurava Divasha because the day represents the birthday of Birsa Munda. And this is the 150th birth anniversary year of Birsa Munda. So from 1900 up to 2025, he breathed his last. He died in 1900, and from 1900 to 2024, so we find out 150 years have already passed. not 150 years, I am sorry. He was born 1875. 1875 to 2024, 150 years has been passed. So this year it has been selected this as the 150th birth centenary year of celebration, and the day is 15th November 2024 to 2025, 15th of November. जल जंगल जमीन का दिया नारा, सदा रहे निज धाम, मातृभूमि पर स्वराज हो, बिरसा का ये पैगाम. So this is the beginning stanza with which I am going to start my lecture. So the declaration of Birsa Munda was, Jal Jangal Jameen Ka Diya Nara, Sada Rahe Nij Dham. So the tribals are the indigenous sons of this soil. So they had their right over Jal, Jangal, Jameen, water resources, forest resources, and land resources. But this mastery or their over Jal, Jangal, and Jameen, it was very much disturbed with the establishment of British rule in India. They began to lose their control, their birthright over Jal, Jangal, Jameen. So then, what was the next step? Matrubhumi par swaraj ho, Birsa ka paigam. So Birsa Munda, the leader of the tribals, he now analyzed the cause. What for we lost our right over Jal, Jangal and Jameen? It is for the foreigners who have snatched away that right from us. And how can we get back our right? Matrubhumi par swaraj ho. So when the Swaraj, administration by ourselves, Swa means ourselves, when we ourselves will control the people, we are the people of India, we will be the controller of our own destiny, then only our right over Jal, Jangal and Jameen, that we will get back. Ye hai Birsa ka paigam. So if you will analyze this declaration of Birsa Munda, as you know, that he was born in Ulihatu, the village Ulihatu, at present in the state of Jharkhand. And another important thing I must tell you, that he was a very short span of life, 1875 to 1900. That means 25 years of life. He lived for 25 years of age, and we imagine that as a young man, he died in the Ranchi jail when he was in imprisonment because he raised his voice against the British authorities. Naturally, the immediate result was he was caught and he was imprisoned, and he spent his prison life in Ranchi jail, and there he died. I remember one English quotation, one crowded hour of a glorious life is worth an age without a name. You see, people are there who are living for around 80 years, 90 years, and even 95 years. But what was their contribution to the society? A long life without any contribution to the society. But Birsa Munda, he now lived only for 25 years. But within very short span of time, the way he has influenced the tribal mentality. So the Munda rebellion, Birsa Munda, so the Mundas under Birsa, they now regarded him, they used to call him as Birsa Bhagavan. So they now personified him as Bhagavan, means his leadership quality, his way of thinking, his analysis had a tremendous influence upon the tribal people. So they thought whatever he is telling, that is the voice of the God. So God is telling within him, Birsa Bhagavan. So what he did, the forceful conversion by the Christian missionaries. The Christian missionary, they used to convert these simple tribals into Christianity by providing them few meals, education, etc. So he challenged the conversion of the tribals by the Christian missionaries. And he now dreamt of a golden age for the tribals. What will be the golden age? There will be no Diku, Diku or Hatua. The tribals, they used to call the outsiders as Dikus or Hatuas. So no Diku, no Hatua, no foreigner, no Thikadar. The contractor who used to exploit them, no Jamindar, no Mahajan. So we will be the master of our, we will control ourselves, our leader. So his leadership was having a very charismatic personality. And his way of thinking, it appealed to the people. His teacher was Joypal Nag. And this Joypal Nag, his teacher, you know that role of teacher in molding the character of a disciple, it plays a very important role. In Shivaji's life, the great Maratha hero Shivaji, you will find out the role of his Guru Ramdas. In mobilizing Alexander, the great hero of Macedonian hero of Greeks, his teacher was Aristotle. You will see the teachers play a great role. Similarly, in the life of Birsa Munda, his teacher Joypal Nag, he had influenced him tremendously towards the exploitation of the Mundas by the British authority, the sorrow and miserable plight of the Mundas under the foreign rule, how they are being economically exploited, and their plight. They are very simple by nature, but the simplicity of the Mundas were lost by foreign exploitation, etc. So the next result or the next call for Birsa Munda was that he gave a clarion call to the Munda community. The time has come. We must raise our voice. So Jal, Jangal, Jameen ka diya nara, sada rahe nij dham. So these are to enjoy Jal, Jangal and Jameen. It is our birthright. Matrubhumi par Swaraj lo. We must establish self-rule, Swaraj, on our own motherland. Ye hai Birsa ka paigam. Ye hai the call of Birsa Munda. But you see that only 25 years of age, within that short span of time, his influence was so much upon the Munda community that even after he was he died in Ranchi jail, but his influence it did not die. So one crowded hour of a glorious life, his life was glorious, full of its achievements, is worth an age without a name. He constitutes a separate age of a Birsa Munda, and even if he is not there, still then, his philosophy, his attitude, his idealism, it continues to influence the people. I am being reminded of one of the remarks of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. Besides his political statesmanship, he was a very good historian. And he has given one opinion that the tribal people should develop along the line of their own genius. So they are very genius by themselves and they begin to think in their own line, and we should try to impose anything upon them. We should not try to impose anything upon them forcefully. We should try to encourage every way of their traditional art, culture, way of thinking. That means they are the son of the soil. They have their own way of thinking, and they think in a very just manner, in a very rationalist manner. We should not force our thinking upon them, rather we should try to encourage them. And if we analyze this remark of Nehru, naturally we find out, if we will seek, now I am coming to the topic. So the first part of my lecture I show you that what is the significance Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. So the tribal population, they have their own glorious way of thinking. And coming to the nationalist resistance, resistance means when we protest. Coming to the nationalist resistance means protest against the British rule. If we analyze the role of the tribals, we will find it a very, very glorious role. So they have their own glorious, active role for the freedom of this country, for the nationalist resistance of this country. Now to start with the topic, that dominance and resistance. Dominance means to establish mastery. They are two sides of the coin. You know, a coin has got two sides. On one side, dominance. One is trying to establish mastery over me, over ourselves. So if anybody tries to establish mastery or dominance over ourselves, naturally there will be resistance, there will be protest. So dominance and resistance are two sides of the coin. When the Britishers, you know, that the British East India Company, they came to India in the year 1600, and it now took almost to 150 years to this company to establish or to acquire the political authority. They came as traders. Why did they come to India? They came for trade and commercial purpose. But taking opportunity of the political instability of the country, lack of unity among the Indian rulers, they now interfered in the political affairs, and they defeated Nawab Sirajuddaulah in 1757 in battlefield at Plassey, and defeating Nawab Sirajuddaulah, they gave the foundation of a British rule. And gradually from 1757, because they had their headquarters, the English East India Company had their headquarters at Calcutta, naturally Calcutta became capital. The capital of Sirajuddaulah was Murshidabad. So Murshidabad, after the death of Sirajuddaulah, it no longer received the status of a capital. Calcutta became the capital of present Kolkata. Then what happened? Now, gradually, the East India Company began to acquire the territories. They were very advanced. They had modern military weapons. They had very good diplomatic strategy. Anyhow, I am not going to that point. By 1800, you will see that they had acquired a number of parts of India, and even our Odisha, coming to our state Odisha proper, you will see by 1803, the undivided Cuttack, Puri and Balasore, it was occupied by the British occupation. And prior to that, in 1767, Ganjam district was, or Ganjam had become a part of Madras Presidency, the district of Ganjam. And in 1803, Cuttack, which was the capital of Odisha by that time, so Cuttack proper, along with three undivided districts, it now came under the British rule. And when it came under the British rule, the freedom-loving Orias also, they did not accept it in a very good manner. You know that Jai Rajguru, he was hanged to death. The Rajguru of Khorda, king of Khorda, Jai Krishna Rajguru, he protested. King was a minor, so he protested and he was hanged to death. And that was the first instance in 1803. When they occupied in 1804, that was the first phase of Khorda uprising. Then in second phase of Khorda uprising, 1817, under leadership of Bakshi Jagabandhu, it was a resistance movement. But our focus in today's lecture is on the tribal resistance. When we look at how did the tribals they accept the English rule, they did not accept English rule in a very good manner. Rather, we find out that right from the third decade of 19th century, by 1831-32, we find out the Kandhas of Ghumushar in Ganjam. So the Kandhas of Ghumushar, they now raised the standard of revolt, and the prominent leaders was Kamal Lochan Dora Bisoi. So Kamal Lochan Dora Bisoi, he now became the leader of the Kandhas. You know that by that time, the Kandhas of Ghumushar, they had their own ruler. They were under the ruler of the Bhanja dynasty, Srikar Bhanja, etc. But the way the British, they tried to extract money from the king, they imposed more and more taxes, wanted to collect more money. The king was helpless. He now asked for the help of his Kandha subjects. And these Kandhas, Dora Bishoi, Bishoi was the head. Bishoi is a designation, he was the head of the Kandha community. He promised, he realized the way the British are putting pressure upon the king, and the king is compelled to collect more and more taxes. So here on the question of the economic grievances, the Kandhas, there was Kandha uprising in Ghumsar, and the leadership was taken by Kamal Lochan Dora Bisoi, popularly known as Dora Bisoi. And after him, his nephew, Chakra Bisoi, he now took the leadership of the Kandhas. You see, if we look at the tribal resistance towards the British rule, the page is full up with a number of heroes who have come forward, and they have provided, you see, another important thing for which the Kandhas were not happy, they provided modern education. They now tried to ban Maria sacrifice. The Kandhas used to sacrifice human beings in your field, so that they had the belief that Dharti Mata will be very happy. But the British people, they banned, no, there cannot be any human sacrifice. It is a good thing, but the Kandhas were not prepared to accept it. So a number of good steps taken by the British administration were also misinterpreted. But the bad steps, like economic exploitation, it was not wholeheartedly accepted. So we find out that the first part of 19th century, the Ghumusura Kandha rebellion, it constitute a very important landmark in the history of the nationalist resistance movement. You can ask me what was the result? The result is obvious that the Kandhas were suppressed. Why? Because they were using that arrow. They had their old traditional military, not weapons, that are military equipments, whereas the English people, they were accustomed with modern equipments, and they had more number of soldiers. Naturally, they are
Shant, you are not
rebelling.
audible.
Pardon? Their rebellion was suppressed. So after the suppression of Ghumushura Kandha uprising, the next important chapter in the resistance movement, we find out the 1857 revolt, what is otherwise called as the Great Revolt of 1857, which the English people called as Sepoy Mutiny, but it will be better because besides the Sepoys, there were other elements, they also joined the revolt. So the revolt of 1857, and in the Sambalpur uprising, you know that the Binjals, the Gonds, they now joined their hand with the caste Hindus. So in Sambalpur, you know, Bir Surendra Shai, He was the leader, but the Binjal population, the Gond population, even they were tribals, they did not hesitate. They did not hesitate to join with the high caste Hindus. So in 1821, in 1831, and ultimately in 1857, different phases of Sambalpur uprising, the Binjals and the Gonds, they had their active role. So they had their active role against the British authority. Then what happened? So I am just giving you the touch of the Binjals and the Gons, because if I give the details, it will take more of time. Then I shall come to the Baman Ghati rebellion, Kolha rebellion. So first was Munda rebellion, then was your Kandha rebellion uprising, then we find out the Kolha uprising, Baman Ghati. Where is Baman Ghati? Baman Ghati is in Mayurbhanj district, and Baman Ghati is situated in between the way, that is Calcutta Nagpur way, and there the Kolhas, the Lodhas, they were having the majority number, and they were under the ruler of Mayurbhanj, Madhav Das Mahapatra, the Sarvarakar means the revenue collector. So he now used to collect more and more revenue, and the Dikus, the outsiders, the Hatuas, the outsiders, they used to interfere in the Lodokolha, in the Kolha culture, and their mastery, their right over Jal, Jangal and Jameen, it was very much affected. So the Baman Ghati uprising at different phases, the Kolhas of Baman Ghati, they now revolted against the British authority. There was sporadic, frequent uprisings. Though these uprisings were suppressed, but it speaks of the freeness of mind, the independent mindedness of the Kolhas, that we shall not remain silent. If there will be any torture, any exploitation upon us, we shall not remain silent. So these are within the past 40 to 50 years of 19th century, we find out there was the Munda rebellion, there was Munda rebellion. First I told you about the Munda rebellion, Birsa Munda. Then we had come across the Kandha uprising, Kolha uprising. Now we shall come to the Bhuiya Meli. It is called in the colloquial language Meli. Bhuiya uprising, and the place was Keonjhar. So the Bhuiya uprising of Keonjhar, where the Bhuiyas and the Juangas, they now came forward to raise their voice against the British administration in two phases. One is Ratanameli, the year was 1867-68. Then Dharani Meli, the year was 1891-93. Ratanameli under the leadership of Ratana Bhuiya, Dharani Meli under the leadership of Dharani Bhuiya. So the economic and administrative grievances against the British and the Amlas. Why did they had their melee or uprising, or why did they raise up their voice against the British authority? Bethi, Begar, Magana, Rasad, Bheti. So in all this, during the time of British administration, you will find out these things which suppressed the tribals. Bethi. We are very much accustomed to the word Beti, forceful labor. I will call a tribal, you come and do this work, but I shall not give him any money. Free service, Beti. Compulsory, free labor. You are compulsory, you will come, give labor, no money. Then beggar. I am going somewhere else. You carry on my bags and baggages, no money. Magan. When the leader of the area, king of the area is passing by your village, you are supposed to give them free ration. So the king or his army or the army of the king is passing by your village, the army of the British is passing by your village, you give magan, ration, free ration. Then now that is called rashad, not magan. That is called rashad. And bheti, bheti is compulsory gift to the king. So Beti, Begar, Magana, Rasad, Beti, these were the types of forceful extraction from the tribals and also from the common man. So this type of economic grievances, along with high taxation and administrative grievances, they had their grievance against the administrative policy of the British and the Amlas. Amlas means the employees who were employed by the British authority, they also began to torture the common population. So we find out that Beti Bagar Magana Rashad, Beti, so there was Ratna Meli under Ratna Bhuya, 1867, and again in 1891-93, you must have heard the name of the college in Keonjhar is DD College, Keonjhar, Dharanidhar College. It has been named after that renowned, that committed leader, tribal leader, Dharanidhar Bhuya. So Keonjhar Meli itself, in the 19th century, it constitutes another important part. I am coming to another important revolt in Kalahandi in the 19th century under the leadership of Rindo Majhi. The Kanda rebellion of Kalahandi under leadership of Rindo Majhi, who was born in the village Urladani village. So in 1853, the Kandas of Kalahandi, they had raised their voice against the British authority. And you will be very shocked to know that he now was arrested and he was hanged to death. The present medical college of Kalahandi, its name is Rindo Majhi Medical College. So it is a tribute to the tribal leader who was hanged because he raised his voice. We are not accustomed with this name. There already more than 75 years have been passed. More than 75 years have been passed. Any problem? कौन हैला? Any problem? So we find out that he was hanged to death. Now, so Rindo Majhi, he is another important figure in the tribal resistance movement. So my point is to give you the idea that if we look at the history of resistance movement among the tribals of 19th century Odisha, it constitutes a very glorious epoch, right from the time of Kamal Lochan Dora Visoi, Chakra Visoi, the Binjals and Gonds of Sambalpur, the Kolla uprising of Baman Ghati, then Kalahandi rebellion, Kandha rebellion in under Rindo Majhi in Kalahandi, then Bhuya uprising in Keonjhar. As you know that in 1885, the Indian National Congress, it came into existence. It was an all-India organization, and with the formation of Indian National Congress, the national struggle, the freedom struggle began to take a concrete shape. When we look at the resistance of the tribals in the 20th century, You are reading about the first phase of Indian nationalism, 1885 to 1905, liberal nationalism. Then 1905 to 1919, Lal Bal Pal, the period of militant nationalism. And from 1919 to 1947, till the achievement of Indian independence, it is your Gandhian era. But during this phase, we also find out, I have already covered the 19th century, coming to 20th century, the glorious participation of the tribals are no less. We find out that mainly here I will come or I will cite the case of the Amco Simcoe massacre. Amco Simcoe is a place in the Gangpur. You know that during the British rule in India, the area which were under the direct British control and some areas were under the control of the king. Amco Simcoe in the Gangpur area, it was a princely state, and there the exorbitant, the queen was there, not king, and the queen, Queen Janaki, he now collected exorbitant taxes, high taxes from the people, and Nirmal Munda now took the leadership. She now took the help of English authority, that the Mundas under Nirmal Munda, they are raising their voice, and it was a massacre, killing in mass. Do you know? 49 deaths were there in a village called Amco Simcoe. Now, the British people who were supporting Queen, they now put on fire, put on gun upon the people. 49 deaths. It is almost like a second mini Jallianwala Bagh, and 86 people were injured. Leadership was taken by Nirmal Munda. So the Amco Simcoe incident is no less a glorious event of the tribal participation, the tribal resistance. We shall not bow our head to our queen, who has been supported by the British authority to collect heavy amount of tax. Rather, we shall prefer death, but we shall not bow down our head. Coming to the 1942 movement, Lakhan Naik, the hero, the civil activist, the tribal Gandhiite, or otherwise called as the Gandhi of Malkangiri, and born in the Tentuliguma village of Malkangiri. What he did? Now, during the time of Quit India movement, Lakhana Naik, the great tribal hero, they now gherawed the Mathili police station in a peaceful manner. But they defied the prohibitory order. The government order, British government had given order that nobody can come to the police station, but violating that prohibitory order, now Mathili police station, it was gherawed and he was taken into imprisonment. And he is the person who was now jailed in the Brahmapur jail. He was sent to Brahmapur jail, and in 43, in 1943, in the Brahmapur jail, he was hanged to death. So he was hanged. In Brahmapur jail, Lakhana Naik was hanged. So he had only a short, he was born in 1899, he was hanged in 1943, a life of 44 years. So at the age of 44, he breathed his last. So Lakhana Naik's epoch is another glorious epoch of nationalist resistance of the tribals of Odisha. In course of my lecture, I just gave you the some name of some leaders, But besides that, that 75 years after independence, now the trend of history has changed, that we must go to the root. There are some unsung heroes who had their substantial role, but their achievement had not received proper recognition, like Navaghana Kohara of Gumushura, Dayanidhi Dharua of Moyurbhanj, Tamma Dora of Malkangiri, Madri Kalo of Sundargarh, a lot of other tribal, though they are not the main hero, but they were having the secondary role. And a leader cannot do anything unless and until he is being supported by the active assistance. So the success of these heroes about whom I told you, they were no doubt raised their voice, but they had with them the very successful assistants, and these successful assistants, they had helped them, and they kept the spirit of resistance till burning. So even if there was a suppression by the Britishers, but the spirit of resistance, it did not die totally. So the lamp of spirit of resistance, it went on burning, though not on a very bright flame, but in a very pale form also it was there. So that nationalism, the very first word of my lecture, nationalism. What is nationalism? The feeling for the nation, the feeling for the people of the nation, the feeling for the, what is nationalism? The feeling for the nation. I am being reminded of one remark, what Ramachandra had told after he killed Ravana. When he killed Ravana, he went to Sri Lanka. Then the people of Sri Lanka requested, that it was called Swarna Lanka. It was very rich, very prosperous, that you have conquered us. You be our ruler. What was the remark of Rama to Lakshmana? Iman Swarnamai Lanka, no me ruchyate Lakshmana, Janani Janmabhumischa Swargadapi Garyasi. Oh, my dear Lakshman, Iman Swarnamai Lanka, this prosperous Lanka, I can't like it. Why? Because Ajodhya is calling me Janani Janmabhumi. My mother and my motherland, they are calling me. They may not be so rich like your Swarna Lanka, Gold Lanka, but they are calling me because it is the call of my mother, it is the call of my motherland. So the call for the motherland. Again, I am being reminded of giving you one remark. We are that poem of Sachi Rautrai, that ଛୋଟ ମୋର ଗାଁଟି ଭୂଗୋଳ ପୋଥି ପତରେ ପଛେ ନଥାଉ ତାର ନାଁଟି ମାଟିର ସେହି ସରଗ ମୋର ସେଇଠି ଅଛି ମୋଷଠି ଘର ସେଇଠି ପୁଣି ଜଳିବ ଶେଷେ ମୋହରି ଚିତା ନିଆଟି. That small village where I was born, its name is not there in geography or in history or in big records, but that village is still, the picture of that village is still within my heart of hearts. And at last, when I will die, my funeral pyre will be lit up in that village. So all of us, in our heart of hearts, have a soft corner, have a very much soft corner for our own birthplace, for our own motherland. Village is in a narrow sense, and in general, coming to the national context, Odisha is our birthplace, India is our birthplace. So we must think, because your Radhanath Rai told, Bharata Pankaja Dalamika Mutkala Mandala Gatividhi Tangjat is Sarveshang. So Bharata Pankaja, India is a lotus flower, and In that lotus flower, our motherland, Utkal or Orissa, is a petal. So we are a part of India. Even if we are Orias, we are a part of the tribals. Even if they are from Orissa, they are a part of the national figure. The tribals are there in almost various states of Odisha. And if we take a total national view of the role of tribals, there will be volumes towards their commitment, towards their sacrifice, towards their dedication, towards their family love and affection for the soil, that jal, jameen, and jungle. You see, they feel free to call themselves as the son and daughter of the earth. So they like to live amidst the natural bounty, natural surrounding in a very simple way. So when anybody tries to establish its mastery over their areas, they will not tolerate. The tribal resistance movement, it gives us the idea that these tribals, they also did not tolerate the foreign rule. They protested, and their protest, now the time has come, more and more research should be conducted by the youngsters who will try to bring to limelight more number of unsung heroes, those heroes who have not yet got the proper recognition. The time has come, they should come to limelight, and we, the generation, you, the next generation, must give them their proper respect, because these Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, it aims at giving them proper respect, proper dignity, and proper place to these tribals in the annals of the history of Odisha in particular, and in the annals of India in general. Thank you all.
Your microphone is on. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your nice presentation. So I do hope all the learners must enjoy this, madam.
Thank you, madam.
So, Madam has elaborated the tribals of Odisha, the true sense that the topic chosen by the resource person is excellent, and it's very relevant to our learners. Then the learners can gather a lot of knowledge about the tribal, I mean, contribution in our state, not only in our state, in whole, in the nation also. Thank you very much once again, ma'am. So now I request the learners, if you have any doubts, any suggestion, any query, you can ask them, ma'am.
Ma'am, please tell about Madhav Singh.
Madhav Singh, yes. He is from Madhav Singh, Arjun Singh. Madhav Singh was from Ghes.
Yes,
Ghes Jamindar. And you know that his 4 sons, this is such a glorified family, that where Madhav Singh and 4 sons, they had sacrificed their life for the cause of the motherland. So in Western Odisha, you have this present government has introduced Madhav Singh Chhatra Vritti.
scholarship. Yes, ma'am.
So Madhav Singh scholarship, you see, the time has come, as I had told you, that those unsung heroes of resistance movement, time has come, we must give them proper place in the pages of history. Not only Madhav Singh, his 4 sons, all of them, they had sacrificed a very unique example of sacrifice, unique example of patriotism, unique example for the love for the motherland, Madhav Singh's family.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else?
Your microphone.
Anybody, any questions? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you. So I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Soma Chan. No doubt, she is a very, very busy person. Out of his busy schedule, he accepted invitation with very short notice. And dear learners, she took lot of pain to prepare such a tremendous, such a nice presentation. So it's relevant to all of us in the context of today's scenario. So I must thanks Soma ma'am on behalf of the regional center, on behalf of Indira Gandhi National Open University, on behalf of our vice chancellor, on behalf of my all dear colleagues. Thank you very much, ma'am, once again. And also I extend my thanks to my colleagues, Dr. Bimal Nanda, Dr. P.K. Jena, and all the colleagues who has presented today's webinar and make successful. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of you. Last but not least, at
Thank you,
last,
sir.
without this
Thank you,
program,
ma'am. Thank you, sir.
thank, thank
Thank
you
you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm already read your book,
Madam.
History of Odisha, ma'am.
आपको
It's
क्लास में
nicely elaborated by
आप
me. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
वो अभी
But
तक
you have got through my book.
Yes, ma'am. I
you,
find
madam.
with that person. I watch you online, ma'am. I know. Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Hey, nice of you. God bless you. I'm very happy that you have gone through my book. You are listening to my lecture.
you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening.
मैम वो लास्ट में लेक्चर के लास्ट में एक पोएम था जो भारत पंकज समथिंग उसे
So that
मुझे
is
कैसे
in, so
सुनना है?
you see, that is in Sarvesham. Sarvesham, you know that poem? That was written by
No, ma'am.
Radhanath Rao. You can, so you, after this meeting is over, you go to net Sarve Shangno Janani Bharata Dharani Kalpalateyam Janani Vatsala Tanaya Ganesham Shammaka Shamma Vidheyam. This is a very familiar poem. You can get it from the net. The part is there. Bharata Pankaja Dalameka Utkala Mandala Gatividhi Tanjat. Because it is in Sanskrit, that's why I did not elaborate it.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you, all of you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
On the center of the center of center present not raise hand more up we call me at the table we call but center
Hello. हेलो अभी क्लास होगा क्या अभी
control D your microphone